In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the exhaust manifold catalytic converter assembly on this Hyundai Santa Fe. Let's get into it. We're going to remove this shield, use a 10mm socket, take these bolts out. And slide that down, out of the way. Now we're going to take these nuts off. I'm going to use an 18mm socket. Take that nut off. Do the same on the other one. There we go. Slide that off. You can slide the pipe off. Pull it back, just out of the way. Now I'm going to take these bolts out of this bracket right here, use a 14mm socket. There's one on the side. The bracket has two bolts going through the engine block. We're going to use a 12mm socket, take those out. And the other one, I'm just going to use a 12mm wrench. Just switch to a ratchet wrench to make it easier. Take that bolt out and slide the bracket down. Using a 10mm socket, take these two bolts out. They're on the shield. Just grab this cover and pull it straight up. Now this wire for the lower O2 sensor, you want to slide that out of those retainers right there. Just bend the tab back and follow over to where it's connected. We'll disconnect the connector. Just push down on the tab. Slide that off. And then we have to take it off the retainer over here. So just wiggle it. Just using a pick, just push where there's a little hole in the retainer and then slide the connector out. It just slides out that way, that's what you're pushing on. And we'll do the same with this O2 sensor. Just follow it back. Just using a trim tool, just pop the retainer off the bracket. Disconnect the connector. There's a little tab. Push on the tab. Slide the connector out. Slide that off. And out of the way. Using a O2 sensor socket, it is a 22mm with a slice in it. Take the O2 sensor out. There we go. Once you break it free, normally you can just take it out by hand. And slide it out. Remove the two bolts up on top of the shield. Use a 10mm socket. You can grab the shield I'll slide it right off. And using a 14mm socket, take these nuts off. Be able to access that one as well from underneath. And we're going to the other side. We're going to take the two nuts out underneath here. It's a little easier to get them from up top. Same 14mm socket. Get those loose. Now from up top, loosen these two. Same 14mm socket. Grab the manifold, slide it back, and it'll come right out. We're going to swap the O2 sensor from the old one to the new one using a O2 sensor socket. It's a 22 with a slice in it. Loosen up the O2 sensor. If you have to, you may have to put the manifold in a vise to keep it from rocking back and forth. On the O2 sensor, just put a dab of anti-seize, just a little bit. That'll be fine. You can thread that in. Snug that down. You want to torque that O2 sensor to 36 foot-pounds. We're going to transfer the shields over. Use a 12mm socket. Take these bolts out and then the other two on the other side. Grab the shield, slide it up. Slide the bottom part on first, then the top. And get the bolts started. And snug those down. You can take the studs, get the studs started. Those down. It's good. I'm going to take the gasket, line that up, just push it over the studs. If you have to, you can use the socket, hammer it down a little bit. There you go. It's all the way down. Now you want to remove the old gasket on the cylinder head. Slide it off the studs. I'll just take some brake parts cleaner and a rag, and just wipe down the gasket area if there's any carbon buildup. You could use a scraper or even a razor blade. Take the new gasket and slide it over the studs. Now take the manifold and slide it down. Go over the studs. Get all the nuts started. Now start snugging those down. Try to snug them down evenly. All right, those are snugged. And starting with the center one, we're going to torque these to 36 foot-pounds. Then you want to alternate back and forth, going towards the driver's side inboard one. And the passenger side inboard one. Next one's going to be the driver's side top one. And the passenger side lower one. And the driver's side lower one. And the passenger side upper one. That's good. Take the heat shield, line that up, get the bolts started. Try to get those bolts started down below as well, if you can reach those. I'll tighten those bolts down, snug those down for the heat shield. And the two lower ones as well, do the same. That's good. And take the O2 sensor and put a little anti-seize on the threads. Get that started. And we'll torque that to 37 foot-pounds. And take the connector, slide it over in position, connect the connector, slide that into the retainer or the bracket. And we'll slide it onto the bracket right there, just like that. And find where the retainer is, and push that in place. Below, and take the other wire, connect that one, and slide that on the bracket as well, and slide the wire into these retainers and just push them down. And take the cover, line it up, push it down. And just slide the pipe back, get this lined up. We already put the gasket on. And we'll put the nuts on, get those started. And using a 17mm socket, we'll tighten these down. Snug those down. It's good. I take the bracket, slide that in place, get the 2 bolts started up top that go into the engine block. Before you tighten those, get the other 2 bolts started down below. Tighten those down. Just snug those down. Tighten this one by hand. Tighten those down. And the one on the side, snug that one down. Now slide this shield in place. And get the bolts started. Once you get all the bolts started, tighten them down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.